Alright, hello everyone, welcome to our lesson on vision, hearing, and balance. So objectives and standards to understand how vision, hearing, and balance work, and to analyze the purpose of vision, hearing, and balance, and take a moment to look at the standards there if you would. And our desired result here, how do vision, hearing, and balance work? Vocabulary, we have a couple of words here. Pupil is an opening in the iris that regulates the amount of light entering the eye. Lens, a flexible, elastic, transparent structure in the eye that changes its shape to focus light on the retina. Retina, the innermost coating of the back of the eye containing light-sensitive receptor cells. Optic nerve is the nerve that carries impulses from the retina to the brain. Binocular fusion is the process of combining the images received from two eyes into a single fused image, and retinal disparity is differences between the images stimulating each eye. Auditory nerve is the nerve that carries impulses from the inner ear to the brain, resulting from the perception of sound, and the vestibular system is consists of three semicircular canals that provide the sense of balance, located in the inner ear and connected to the brain by a nerve. So seeing with vision. It is the most studied of all the senses since there's a high importance placed on it. We place a very high importance on our vision. Now there are steps about how we are able to see. To begin, light enters through the pupil over here. See if I can circle that here for you. So here's the pupil here, this little, see how it kind of has like an opening here? If I could get a better, thicker pen here. Hold on one sec. So this is the pupil. You can kind of see this opening here. Okay, so light enters through there. It then reaches the lens, which is this kind of bubbly part. You can kind of see it looks kind of like a bubble. I'm going to try and shade it in here in yellow. So that's the lens. Okay, which focuses the light onto the retina, and that's that big red dot there that you see, the big part there, that's the retina. Now, inside the retina, there are rods and cones that change light energy into neuronal impulses. So what that means is it changes them into, stuff that the neurons in our brain can understand. Now, the way we're able to see in light and dark is rods are more sensitive to lower levels of light than cones. So cones are better for seeing in the daylight, while rods are more useful at nighttime. So cones are better for seeing in the daylight, rods are better for nighttime seeing. They then travel along the optic nerve to the brain and the occipital lobe, where we process how to see things, and it's not shown here, but the optic nerve is probably somewhere around back here. It's not shown here, but it's probably right around here where the green line is. A form of electromagnetic radiation is light. So some other forms include radio waves, microwaves, X-rays, gamma rays, infrared radiation, and ultraviolet rays. Now the typical thing that we see most of the time is just regular light. We obviously don't see X-rays. If you go to the hospital, have an X-ray taken, you don't see these beams coming at you, right? You just, you don't even really feel anything. But they are forms of light. And they all make up what's known the electromagnetic spectrum. Now, only a small portion of the electromagnetic spectrum makes up visible light, and that's why I was saying about X-rays and things like that. Wavelengths of visible light can be viewed with a prism, and colors, how we see blue, green, red, yellow, depends on the light that reaches our eyes. For example, peas will look green because they reflect green light and absorb other colors. So that's how we see things, is by things reflecting other light and then absorbing other colors. So here's the electromagnetic spectrum. Kind of gives you an idea about from the lowest type of energy, the lowest type of frequency of the electromagnetic spectrum is the radio, and to the most intense one, which is a gamma ray, which would be something like a nuclear bomb. Then in the middle here, we have, again, the visible light, so the things we see every day, like the colors and things like that. Now, there are some problems with color. If a person's cones do not function properly, they may be determined to be color deficient. Now, most color deficient people do see some colors, but have trouble distinguishing between them, like red and green. For example, if you look at this image up here for a minute, I'll give you a minute to look at it, and you should be able to see a number. Okay, you should be able to see a number. Okay, and hopefully what number that shows for you is 74. Now, actually, I'll be honest with you, it's a little difficult for me to see it. I have some color blindness, and some color deficiency. I'm not totally color deficient, but it's a little hard for me to see the 74. The 7 kind of looks like a 7 sometimes if I look at it, or a 2 or the other. So again, I myself kind of suffer with this issue as well. Now, very few people are totally color deficient, where they only see black, white, and shades of gray. So I'm not that bad, but some people actually can't see color at all. They only see black, white, and shades of gray, kind of like old TV shows or old movies. That's kind of what life looks like to them. Color deficiency affects about 8% of American men, only 1% of American women, so it's more found among men. And color deficiency is actually a hereditary condition. It comes from women who have normal vision and then pass this gene onto their sons. So the women, their mothers have no problem with color, but they'll pass this gene onto their sons, who will then have color deficiency. 2 eyes, 1 image. Our eyes are located about 2.5 inches apart. Now, the visual system receives two images, right? But we only see one. We don't see, we don't see 2 images when we're looking at something. And this composite view of both eyes is known as binocular fusion. Just like if you look through a set of binoculars, you know how there's 2 holes in binoculars, but if you look through binoculars, you only see 1 image. So that's where we get the name for that. There is also a difference between the images on the retinas, which is known as retinal disparity. Retinal disparity refers to depth perception. So like if I hold a pencil close to my face and move it away, does it get blurry and things like that? How far away am I able to see that? You could hold your hand in front of your face and move it closer, and then you move it away, and you can see, your depth perception. Seeing near and far. People who are born with perfectly shaped eyeballs, I know that sounds weird, have almost perfect vision, okay? Those who have an eyeball that's a little too long, they are nearsighted. And what nearsight is they recognize objects that are near, so they can recognize something that's near to them easily, but things that are far away look blurry. Now, people who have eyeballs that are too short are what we call farsighted. So what that means is that objects that are close to their face are blurry, while they can see things that are far away. And both eyeglasses and contacts can definitely help alter this sight. So let's talk about hearing. Sound waves or vibrations in the air are involved in hearing. They pass through various bones until they reach the inner ear. So here we have some sound waves coming in. There's all white lines. They enter the outer ear, and then they reach the inner ear. Okay, we follow this, and they reach these they come to the eardrum, and they hit these 3 tiny bones. And these 3 tiny bones, which we'll talk about in a little bit, they have tiny hair-like cells that move back and forth. And when these hair-like cells vibrate, sound vibrations are then turned into neuronal signals, just like we said, transferring stuff to neurons, and they travel through the auditory nerve up into the brain. Okay, and we'll talk about the cochlea, we'll talk about the 3 tiny bones in a couple slides here. The loudness of a sound is determined by the height or amplitude of sound waves. Louder sounds have a higher amplitude, and these are measured by decibels. The softest sound a human ear can hear is 0 decibels, and the loudest sound that a human ear can hear and should hear is 140 decibels, and this could be related to a jet plane taking off. Any decibel that is above 110 decibels or as low as 80 decibels can damage the human ear if exposed to it constantly. So if you're constantly hearing something at 110 decibels or 120 decibels, it could do damage to your ear. Here's some, just another graph here that shows you how loud is too loud. Just different sounds. 140 a gunshot. 40 is raindrops. So again, I'm just going to circle some of these here for you. Raindrops. A normal conversation is about 60 decibels. Rock concerts are 105 decibels. Okay, so again, anything above 110, if you listen to it at a constant rate, could possibly damage your hearing. And that's why people tell you as well, the iPod, having the iPod too high and having your earbuds in can sometimes damage your ear as well. That's listed here, 115 decibels. Sound and pitch. The rate of vibration of the medium through which sound waves are transmitted is called pitch. Deep bass sounds or deeper sounds have low frequencies, while shrill or shrieking sounds have a high frequency. The pathway of sound. Alright, this is a little long, so just kind of stick with me here. Both ears are used to hear. When you hear a sound from your right ear, that doesn't mean that only your right ear is hearing it. It means that the sound reaches your right ear a few seconds before the left ear. The sound, it might be also slightly louder in the right ear because it tells your body what direction it's coming from. So both ears hear everything at the same time sometimes, but one ear might hear it a little bit earlier, or it tends to determine what direction it's coming from. And our ears also have specific parts that serve different purposes. So let's go through this. So the first thing we're going to talk about here is the outer ear. I'm going to highlight that in green for you. The outer ear captures sound waves, and the ear flap directs the sound down the auditory canal. So here we are here, the auditory canal. All right. Vibration of air waves or sound in the auditory canal causes the eardrum, if we have a different color, the eardrum to vibrate. So here's our eardrum. Okay, and then let's move on to the middle ear. I'm going to get a yellow here, middle ear. Our middle ear is an air-filled cavity that consists of 3 tiny bones. We have the hammer, you can see that there, the anvil, and the stirrup. All 3 of these are attached at one end to each other, and then at the cochlea at the other end. So you can see they're all attached, and then they attach to this thing called the cochlea. Okay, that's right down. You'll see that. That looks like a seashell kind of. Sound waves, pressure against it. So when we have pressure against the cochlea, it makes the liquid inside the cochlea move, and then they turn these tiny hairs inside the cochlea to pick up motion. Okay? So the inner ear has fluids and neurons in it that are part of this bony cochlea. Okay? That's this thing right here. So attached to these sensory cells are these tiny hairs, which then turn these sound vibrations into neuronal impulses. Impulses are then carried by the auditory nerve down here. These are the auditory nerves, these yellow fiber, spaghetti-looking things, auditory nerve, to the brain and then to the cerebral cortex. So I know that might be a little confusing, but hopefully you get the general understanding of that. Excuse me. Just like with eyesight, there can be some hearing problems as well. There are 2 types of deafness that can impact people. One is conduction deafness. This occurs when anything hinders physical motion through the outer ear or the middle ear. It can also occur when the bones of the middle ear become rigid and they cannot carry the sound inward. So those who suffer from conduction deafness can typically be helped with a hearing aid. And what a hearing aid does is it picks up sound waves and changes them into magnified vibrations that can be sent to the inner ear. Sensorineural deafness occurs from damage to the cochlea, the hair cells, or the auditory neurons. Those who suffer from this cannot be helped with a hearing aid, but they can possibly have a cochlear implant. A cochlear implant changes sound waves into electrical signals, which are then fed into the auditory nerve and then to the brain. And it's a miniature electronic device that is surgically implemented into the cochlea. And last one here, the vestibular system. Our body's sense of balance is controlled by the vestibular system, and it's located inside the inner ear. The most prominent feature is 3 semicircular canals, and inside are hair cells that project into the fluid within each of the canals. Fluid inside the canals resists changes in motion through inertia, and then this bends the receptor cells, which you can kind of see in the image here, how when the guy turns his head, see how it bends. So fluid inside of this bends the receptor hair cells projecting in the fluid. Stimuli, or things that set off the vestibular responses, include movements such as spinning, falling, or tilting your body or head like this guy's doing. The overstimulation of these can result in dizziness or motion sickness. So maybe if you've been on like a spinny ride at a carnival or amusement park, that's why you feel dizzy, is because your vestibular system is being overworked. So that's why we might say, you know, maybe you stand up too fast and you go, oh, I'm dizzy. That's because your vestibular system was being overworked. Our sense of balance helps us walk or stand without falling over or stumbling. I should say without falling, not with. Sorry about that. Wrap up. So our sense of sight allows us to see and understand information. The sense of hearing allows us to hear different sounds. And then balance is controlled by the vestibular system, which is, again, located in the inner ears. Alright, so that's all I have for this lesson. I hope you have a great rest of your day or night, and I'll see you soon.